Yakup's probably a little bit bigger, and Yak's a way better, passer and can kind of pass from the elbow, which is something Thiago couldn't do. So, yeah. But also, Thiago's got a ring. So,
did you have anything to add on Jakob?
I mean, I think when he got hurt, we realized how good he was. Like I think that there's a lot of things that he does. Like sometimes he lets people blow by him.
Back on the string.
That smaller players do. Sometimes he just kind of lets people go up and get shots and isn't as physical as he could be. But when he got hurt, man, we realized how important he was to our paint defense, and how much he was really holding it down earlier in the season. He did a. I mean, if you look at the stat sheet, you're gonna see that Giannis got like however many points he did against us. But without Jak, he would have had like 20 more than that. So I just think that he's done a really good job holding down our paint. And while I agree with Clan, I don't think that he's like, a franchise, centerpiece moving forward. And there's some things that, he is what he is. I think that he is a guy who can be like, a bench center on a championship team. So that's something you like. Hopefully we can re-sign him, but we got a lot of bigs, so it's going to be interesting to see how he plays next to guys like Zach Collins, and if Jock Landale gets minutes in the future at the 4, that would be interesting too. So we'll see.
Last but not least, Ethan.
Yeah, Jakob Poeltl is the perfect center you would pair next to a Hall of Fame power forward. Because he doesn't really score the basketball that much. He's improved a lot this season, and I think Jakob Poeltl is, aside from DeJounte Murray, probably the most important player on our team, because we saw what happened to our identity as soon as he got hurt. As much as I love Drew Eubanks, he is not a starting caliber center in the NBA. And then as soon as Jakob Poeltl is out, we don't have a backup center because Drew Eubanks moves up, and then Thad becomes our backup center, and everything pretty much falls apart from there. But Jakob Poeltl's doing what we wanted him to do. Clan mentioned it. His hands are better. His confidence looks like, to me, it's a lot higher than normal. He looks a lot more aggressive. He's more capable when it comes to dunking the basketball, getting put back, tip back, stuff like that, which is always great to see. But at the same time, I don't think he's here long term, because we'll probably draft a center, hopefully, and then in the next coming years, maybe we'll draft a guard instead. But hopefully we get a center pretty soon that can kind of replace him as our starting center. So
I like Jakob Poeltl. The term Thunder Dunk of Justice started when he threw down a monster dunk in a game, because he doesn't dunk enough. He's dunking more this year, but we saw a lot of these little Olay things in the paint when he should be dunking it. I like him, and I watch him, and I see 100% maximum Deadpool effort. And my heart says, I want Jakob to succeed, and we can succeed with him, but my mind tells me I just don't think he has enough offensively. And the absolute poor free throw shooting that he has is really hurting the team. It was evident in the loss last night, where he was 1 for 6 from the line, and we ended up losing by 4. I don't expect my center to shoot 90%, but 66 to 70% seems reasonable. And mentioning that Jakob is one of our best centers of all time, I can't really argue that too much. But we're starting with David Robinson and Tim Duncan. The bar is pretty high, and all due respect to Jakob, it falls pretty far from those two to where he is. I mean, I can't put that bar in my box right here. It's a massive drop. I like him. The NBA is not what it was when I was rocking the David Robinson jersey, where you didn't need your center to shoot 3-pointers. You need a center now that can spread the court a little bit. It helps. I just don't think he has enough offensively, and I think he is a fantastic backup. And he's in the starting position now because we don't have anything better. But I just think long-term, I hope he proves me wrong. And by the way, anybody in the chat, I hope I'm wrong when I say I don't think this guy's got it. I want them to prove me wrong, because if that player proves me wrong, that's good for the team. So I always hope any Spurs player, I said, well, maybe we shouldn't extend their contract. Maybe they shouldn't get more minutes. Maybe they should go to the bench, whatever. I hope they prove me wrong. And I'm sure everybody here with me in this stream agrees that, hey, if we say something about a player that they're not playing well, prove us wrong. I would love for Derek White to shut my face up and average 30 points per game over the next 10 games and be like,
Bryn, I need you to make me quiet.
Well, fairies grant wishes.
Yeah.
Let's jump to the bench. We talked about the starting lineup. Do we really need to say anything else about Devin Vassell? We think we're all kind of on the same page that maybe he should start over Derek. He's been fantastic in only a year or two. I don't think there's really much to add with Devin.
I think with Devin Vassell, Man, it is a big jump. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's kind of a big jump from last year. Like last year, he was more so like catch and shoot, which he kind of still is for the most part. But I think he's really grown even defensively. I don't know his ceiling. I cannot tell. Like it's a few players where it's like, oh, it's blatantly out. Like Derek White, I knew what his ceiling was, like even at the beginning. Like in which I always loved Derek White, but I was like, I know your ceiling. DeJounte, I was kind of murky on, don't know his ceiling. Devin Vassell, he's a really weird one, man. He's either, I'll say this, he's either going to be really great or like slightly above average. I think that's what type of player he's going to be. I don't even think there's an in between. He won't be bad ever. I don't think.
I'll just add to this, Glenn. You kind of just described the Spurs roster to me when I really look at it and just not look at it with my Spurs goggles. We have a lot of players that are average to maybe above average that once in a blue moon will have a great night. But if they're all having an average night, we're going to lose time and time and time again. We need the great nights from players, and we just don't get it on a regular basis. We're not going to get that 30-point Lonnie Walker we've seen once in a blue moon show up against the Houston Rockets or whatever. We need guys to be consistent with 20 to 30, and we have nobody. There's literally nobody on this team averaging 20 points per game.
No. And there won't be.
keep it real, but you're right. No, this is a touchy one because I really do like him. He's one of our most exciting players for sure. That being said, right now he is averaging 10.8 points per game, shooting 37% from the floor and 28% from the arc, and his contract is up after the season. And I'm not sure he's going to get a new contract. We're talking about Lonnie Walker. Ethan, I'll start off with you. Your thoughts on Lonnie?
Man, I don't even know what to say about Lonnie anymore because I've been the biggest Lonnie Walker defender on our channel all of last year. My whole argument was like, Lonnie Walker is going to just turn it on as soon as Rudy Gay and Patty Mills get out of his way because he's a guy that needs the ball in his hands to be successful. And we've given him the ball, and he just hasn't been successful, unfortunately. His passing ability has gotten a little bit better, defensively a little bit better, but he just can't score the basketball. And we need him to be that spark plug off the bench, and for some reason he hasn't been that. And Jude always talks about his inability to hold on to the basketball, and I think it's a big thing as well. He just loses his handle time and time again, or he'll go in for a fancy layup and drop the ball mid-air while he's soaring about 48 inches in the air because of his insane vertical. But Lonnie Walker is one of these guys where he's going to get a contract from somebody because he's a human highlight reel and because everybody knows Lonnie Skywalker is capable of doing some insane things on the court. But it's the inconsistency for me that is, I can't offer him that big deal at the end of this season because he hasn't shown it. Like he hasn't even done it back-to-back games. I'm pretty sure. I don't even know if he's like 2 games in a row. Has Lonnie Walker played really well? I don't think so. So I mean, that's unfortunately become the mantra with Lonnie Walker IV. Is just an inconsistent highlight reel that we want to be Manu Ginobili, but unfortunately, I don't think he ever will reach that. He won't even get close to Manu Ginobili level.
Dude.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy that Pop compared him to Manu, whenever that was. And I mean, I get with, the idea
By the way,
when he was a young
I'm
age.
muting
Like,
myself.
I understand the idea of that.
They're speaking
possibly
facts
being,
right now.
A scenario. I'm not trying to just
That's
crap on
facts.
Pop. I'm just saying that was pretty crazy looking back on it now. And
Serious. That's facts.
obviously, I agree with everything
he will be
Ethan
nowhere
said.
near.
Everybody knows
I'm
that Lonnie's
sorry.
just been consistently inconsistent. And like we saw that crazy highlight reel layup where he literally put it across his entire body, got it, and it's like, you see one of those like every 18 games. And then once in a blue moon, like everybody was kind of saying, it's like he'll have a good game just like the rest of the roster. But we've seen enough from Lonnie now, kind of like Ethan said too. Like we thought, okay, maybe Rudy, Patty, DeMar holding him back. We've given him the ball. We see it now. He's gonna probably get an NBA contract because he's probably still one of the more athletic players in the NBA. So it's like if you can just harness all this athleticism, he can be amazing. But you gotta hold on to the ball, man. Like you said, there's so many times where he'll just try to dribble and try to make an ISO play, and then he'll just lose it, or he'll just end up passing it off. It just hasn't worked out for him. It's tough because you had high hopes for the guy, and he's still so athletic, but just hasn't really been consistent in anything other than that Rockets game where he won it. been downhill from there.
Ben?
Yeah, I agree. I never bought into the wait until this player gets their like chance, or like wait until these players are gone and then this player's. I feel like if you're going to be special, you're just going to be special. Like Manu Ginobili was behind Tim Duncan, Tony Parker. I mean, a few years Tony Parker was a better player. The entire time Tim Duncan was the best player. But like I just think that you're going to shine regardless. Lonnie Walker had a few glimpses, but when you got a large dose of Lonnie Walker, unfortunately it just doesn't pan out. And one thing that kind of worries me the most about Lonnie is he said that when he was talking to Manu, one thing that Manu told him to do is like, you know, don't you think too much. You just go out there and you try too hard. Like you're always thinking. And that's just one of those things where I just feel like it's a little more natural. Like usually players, if they're just naturally have that instinct, and I don't know if he naturally has it. I've been seeing every single time he goes out there now, he tries not to think with those passes, and they are turnovers. They are ugly. It's like, oh my God, maybe you should have thought. I don't know, man. I'm not crazy about, and it's unfortunate because I praised Lonnie throughout the entire offseason, like the entire offseason. Now I know we're only a few games in, but I think I don't know. I feel like I've seen enough at this point. You know, he would have been able to show something, and his stats are worse. Like he's gotten worse.
I hope this is not the case, but we know Lonnie is a player that's very much driven on confidence. When he's confident, he's a great player. When the confidence is not there, he's somebody you don't really want on the floor. And I just gotta wonder, is it in his head that this is the last year of his contract and he's trying too hard? And because he's trying and he's thinking, and I play basketball, I'm sure you guys have all played basketball. I have a hoop out in my yard, and not to reference myself too much, but when I'm making shots, I'm not thinking about it. I'm just out there shooting. But as soon as I miss 3 or 4 shots in a row, I'm starting to think like, oh, do I need to put more arc on this shot? And I just got to think, is Lonnie in his head too much? And because it's a contract year, worried, do I get another contract from the Spurs? Maybe I don't get another contract from anybody, which could happen if that's just completely messing up the season.
See, but like in my opinion, I think great players, that's what they thrive. That's when they thrive in moments like that. Like this is my contract.
He's not a great player right now, though.
Yeah, I don't think he's that good. Honestly, I just don't. I used to, and I praised them for the longest, and I'm usually really patient with like players. I take my time. I don't just like dog on players really quickly. I'm like, one bad season, I'm not gonna, harp on it. But I don't know, man. Maybe that was just kind of like a foreshadowing back when Pop put him in the fire against Golden State Warriors as a rookie. Maybe it was just kind of showing what's to come, because I don't know. I don't know. It's sad.
I don't think he's a Spur next year. Does anybody disagree?
No, he's gone.
Okay. Sorry, Lonnie.
So too.
For the time. Hopefully he plays well wherever he goes.
One more thing on Lonnie. Jalen Rose on the ESPN broadcast in 2018 said his player comparison was Dwayne Wade. Unfortunate.
It's
unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, remember Donovan Mitchell? You remember that?
Yeah,
that was a big comparison for a while too. I think Donovan Mitchell said it, didn't he? He said it.
Yeah, he did. I don't remember about that one. Did he? Was that on draft night? Did he get compared to Dwayne Wade too? Or
I guess so. I think Donovan Mitchell himself said, "Oh yeah, he's like me." Let me see.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm sure. No, there is definitely. I mean, he plays like Dwayne Wade. Don't get me wrong. We know that about Donovan Mitchell.
I don't really like player comparisons anymore because I don't know who said it a while back, but like with Devin Vassell, I want Devin Vassell to be the first Devin Vassell. Forget being the next Kawhi Leonard.
Exactly.
Or Josh Primo. Like
they set him up, man.
Yes, don't.
You're comparing him to Dwayne Wade. Like what?
Oh no, guys, it gets worse. I just pulled up the article. So yes, Donovan Mitchell did compare him to Donovan Mitchell, and he also said, "I love Lonnie Walker. He has that factor that is kind of like he's quiet, but he's a killer. It's like Kobe Bryant kind of mentality. I'm not saying he's going to be Kobe. Don't get me wrong, but that mentality."
All right.
No. Oh my gosh, Kobe and D Wade.
Okay, not setting the bar too high there, right? Multi NBA champions and Hall of Famers. I'm gonna drop Clan's link in the chat below, as well as SSPN. Clan's right below me. He's the Invisible Man. SSPN's over there. It's both Spurs, all Spurs content creators. Sub them up if you haven't already. Let's grow the Spurs community and let's continue on with the bench. I think it's gonna be pretty universal with the thoughts on this man. I don't know why he came back. I talked about this before the stream a little bit. He's an NBA champion. Yes, he wasn't the main guy on the team, but I'm sure as heck didn't think thought he would come back here and get 12 minutes a game, sometimes getting 3 or 4 minutes a night. If he doesn't hit a few shots, he's out. We're talking about Bryn Forbes. I like Bryn, much like Doug McDermott, but even worse, if he's not producing an offense, he is hurting the team. I literally saw that man have a minus 12 in like 10 minutes of play. I'm like, your plus minus is higher than the amount of minutes you played? I didn't know that was possible. But Bryn pulled it off. He's a turnstile on defense. Nice job, Flynn. There.
That's perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, he's very, very stoic. He doesn't move around much. But yeah, he's live there. Bryn Forbes, people, kind of criticize me a little when I say we should trade him. We won't get anything for him. Look, I'll take anything. A developmental project. Bryn should not be here. We'll talk about him later, but I would rather see Josh Primo get 12 minutes a game. And yes, maybe he's not NBA ready. Maybe Austin would help out more, but we have nothing to lose. We're 4-12. Then give Bryn these random minutes where if he misses a shot, he's not playing. And even if he's playing okay, he's like revolving door on defense. Seriously, I'm 6'4". At least I could offer a little more size on defense than he could. Probably more effort too. I'm just kidding, Bryn. I don't know why they brought him back. I wish him well, but there's no reason for him to be here. And your thoughts on Bryn? We'll start with Ethan. Go counterclockwise.
Jude and I did like a live stream reaction during the actual free agency, and as soon as we signed him, I was like, why? Like, I don't understand why on earth we would sign Bryn Forbes, because we had such a nice, like, neat roster at that point, and then we signed him, and it just kind of screwed up the whole bench unit. Because to me, I mean, yeah, Primo, I would love to see Primo get minutes, but I would also really like Tre Jones to get a few more minutes. I think Tre Jones probably would get more minutes because Pop likes to give the experienced guys minutes for some reason, even though Primo's a lottery pick. With that being said, Tre Jones deserves to play over Bryn Forbes because I know Tre Jones isn't as good of a shooter, but he's better at everything else. Defense, slashing, rebounding, passing. He's an amazing facilitator, and he would really fix that problem of Bryn Forbes just getting trapped off of every pick and roll and turning the ball over immediately because he's literally my size out there with these trees. And he can't see over anybody, so he just loses the ball every time he touches it. It's the most frustrating thing in the world. But like I said to TSR before the stream, if Bryn Forbes was on the Bucks again, or any team with a superstar level player like a Giannis or a LeBron, he'd be awesome because he'd be wide open. He would be Steve Kerr on the Chicago Bulls in 98, 97, where he can just stand over there and get wide open threes. Perfect. But with us, no, he can't be on the court. It's too much of a liability.
And I think that's where he would succeed again. He had Milwaukee Bucks, a player you have to double team in Giannis, where he's going to just stand out there and have the open three. And with the Spurs, he's trying to create shots, and that is not his game. Jude, do you have anything to add on, Bryn?
Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing with him. It's just been unfortunate, That's all there is. It's like if he's on the Suns or the Bucks or the Lakers or all what it may be. Okay, what's the timeout?
Dude, I just want to give a quick timeout. We addressed Derek White, but we did not say he was garbage. I want to be very clear on that.
Yeah.
Said maybe he should go to the bench. None of us here said he's garbage.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jude, just go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. But on a superstar team, a contending team, Bryn Forbes can be effective. On a 4-12 lottery-bound San Antonio Spurs team, not really. And I just want to kind of reiterate what Ethan said. I mean, even if you don't want to move Derek White to the bench, which would kind of be able to move Bryn Forbes out of the starting lineup because you feel like Devin is your only spark plug, then just play Tre Jones. Tre Jones is younger, and we can have the Primo conversation. I'm sure there's a lot of debate there on whether what's better to stay in Austin or get NBA minutes, but you don't even have to have that conversation because you have Tre Jones. And I think that even though we haven't seen it from Tre Jones yet, he is still a competent three-point shooter. When I say that, I just mean like if he's open, he can hit it. It's not like he's just, it's not like he's Jakob from out there, right? So I think that it's just so obvious that when you have somebody like that in Tre Jones, a young guard that is even bigger than Bryn Forbes at this point, I just don't see the reasons for playing him. So hopefully he gets moved at the deadline, but knowing Pop and the Spurs culture, we may have to have Bryn stick around for the rest of the year.
And Clay.
Yeah, so with Bryn Forbes, actually when we first signed Bryn Forbes, I wasn't I wasn't too upset about it. I thought, all right, so we're just adding more firepower as far as 3-point shooting. He's coming off a championship, so, you know, it's going to be a boost there. I'm sure the Spurs were doing him a solid, especially I think he has family in San Antonio. So, you know, I thought it was going to be a nice little fit, especially losing Patty. It was like, okay, we bring in a Patty protege. But yeah, right now as it stands, it is not panned out. I'm actually a big Bryn Forbes person, but I always just relate back to the Game 7 versus the Nuggets. It was like, wow, like he actually showed up when no one else would. But I completely agree with you guys. Like he got to have some type of stars out there. Like he can't be out there and it work with guys on our team right now that can't necessarily create their own space. If they can't create their own space and create their own shot necessarily, how do you expect them to create for other players? They're just not. So that's just kind of the position we're in right now with Bryn. But a lot of his flaws usually are, you know, you can usually hide them if you have, you know, really good talent around them. But yeah, I think for me, I just really overestimated what our team would be. And that kind of messed up the whole thing with Bryn.
And we're too small too.
We're
totally
tiny.
off subject, but seeing Tre Jones and Bryn Forbes running our backcourt, I'm just like, oh my Lanta. And then you got like Lonnie Walker and small forward.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of little guys out there. I'm like, no wonder why we're getting crushed with second, third, fourth chance opportunity points in the paint.
Yeah.
We're just so small. But I think we're all on the same page on Bryn. Like him, wish him well. He's not going to work here. Not with this current unit. Up next, I don't really have a lot to say on him. Drew Eubanks, thank you for starting. You did the best you could. He's a backup center, and I think when his contract runs out next year, he won't be a Spur. That's about all I have on Drew. Clan, your thoughts?
I like Drew, but I kind of agree. Yeah, I don't know. Like I actually was high on Drew too. I was like, oh, okay, he can, you know, score around the basket. He has a hook shot that, you know, we don't really get to see in the NBA anymore. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot to his game. He has like all the ingredients, but he just don't know how to cook. So it's just, I don't know. It's just, he doesn't cook it, man. Like put it in there for like at least 30 minutes, man. Don't take it out after 5 minutes. I don't know. He's not that good. Honestly, I think when you have to overutilize him, that's when it gets bad. And I think that's kind of the theme of this team right now. Just when you have to overutilize this guy, it just doesn't look too hot. And that's the main thing.
Jude?
Yeah, you know, me and Ethan were basically the Drew Eubanks hype channel over the summer. But
thanks for the super chat
this year. It didn't
I
work
love you
out.
guys.
Just like Clan said, I mean, the more that you play a lot of people on this team, that's such a good way to put it, the more you kind of just see their flaws and see that they're probably not NBA rotation players. And with Drew, it's like this is somebody that you like to have on your team as a third string center who can push guys in practice, be a great teammate. And then if somebody does get injured, you know he's going to come in and play his heart out. And that's the thing. Like, it's not about effort with Drew Eubanks. It's just about skills. And I think we're learning that unfortunately, as much as it would have been the greatest meme of all time in Spurs history for him to just turn into, you know, a rotation player for us, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Ethan, your thoughts on Drew?
Well, I'm the only member in the Drew Eubanks fan club. I love Drew Eubanks. I mean, I was super high on the guy coming into the season. I was telling Jude, I was like, this guy's about to average like 10 and 10, surprise the league. Because like Clan said, he's got like a really underrated low post game. And I think the most beneficial like aspect of Drew Eubanks' game was that nobody knew who he was. So all of a sudden he surprised everybody because he could actually jump and dunk, and he was playing with 115% effort out there every single night, which allowed him to occasionally have some pretty great games for somebody that was an undrafted player who wasn't supposed to get any minutes, that was kind of thrown out there last season and this season as well. But this season, clearly they know who he is. They've been keeping him on the ground. He is not very skilled as a big man, unfortunately. Someone's comment, hit it right on the money. He can't set a screen without moving. It's so true. He gets so many moving screen fouls. It's not even funny. And he uses all of his fouls, that's for sure. I mean, he is not afraid of hitting people.
Hey, you got 6 of them. You better use
6
them.
of it's right.
Exactly. So I agree with what Jude said. I would love to keep Drew Eubanks on as like a minimum contract third string center to kind of fill the depth chart. But obviously, if you can get somebody better, go ahead and do that as well. I'm not going to be like upset about it because I want to make our team a better team.
We're
overall.
gonna cry. No, we're gonna 100% cry when
I'll
Drew
still be a
Eubanks
Drew
leaves.
Eubanks fan,
but-
Jude. I'll follow him whichever team he goes.
He's the only signed poster. Y'all can't see it, but just go check us out. I have a signed Drew Eubanks poster, like right here where I'm pointing. It's on my wall. But
Nice.
Yeah.
so he's forever in our hearts at SSPN.
I'll follow him to the Shanghai Sharks. He'll average 30 and 20. But yeah, just a disappointing season so far. But at the same time, he's really been given a really crappy hand to start off. Jakob wasn't supposed to go down early. He was not supposed to be thrust in as the only center pretty much on the roster because Jacques Landale was getting 0 minutes.
Yeah.
He was expected to do a lot, and I don't think he was capable of doing it. And he tried really hard to live up to those expectations, but he's just not that good, unfortunately.
But he had the chance, though. That's where you can make, when you get thrown into the starting spotlight, that's when great ones step up and say, I'm going to show you that while he's out, this should be my spot, and I'm going to show you I can take it from him. And unfortunately, it did not quite happen. He had a few moments here and there. He had a career high 18 against, I don't remember who it was.
Hit a bunch of free throws. He's better
Yeah,
at free
he
throws than
He
Yacht.
was a good free throw shooter. And you guys mentioned it. He takes advantage of his fouls like Pop takes advantage of timeouts. You got you got all those to use them, right?
I think
go away the next game.
I think it would have been, you know what, this like slight criticism for the team, just like slight, not really, but I don't really blame Pop for anything right now, really. But the one thing that I will say, like I'll criticize is Eubanks going into the season, they talked about how he could be a 3-point shooter, and I don't think we've put him in many positions to do. Like he shot a couple, but like
He
even
shot 3.
yeah, like even Chip England said himself that like Drew Eubanks could be one of the best shooters on the team, which I know that's crazy and that doesn't sound right, but I mean, I don't know. I don't think Chip would just say that, right?
There's one thing hearing it, and then when you see him take the shot and you look at his form, you're like,
Yeah, he doesn't have great form, but
He drained the first one, and then the next 2 attempts that he's taken like once every 5 games have been abysmal. And the second time he took it and airballed it, and both of them have been airballs, Pop looked at him and was like, "Don't do that again." And then, but then he did it this past game against the Suns, and it was just abysmal again. So it was just like all hope.
if I
okay,
remember correctly,
okay, that's
didn't
just his fault.
wasn't he open? He was just kind of like, okay. And then he finally just
Well,
took the
I think
shot.
he was like, I think he realized Pop wouldn't be mad at him for taking it, but he had already thought about it too long. So then it turned into another, like, it has to be like perfect form with him. I don't know. You could tell that it's changed a little bit, which is why the free throws and his mid range look better. But from out there, it's just not reliable at an NBA level at all.
That's the only thing that would have helped him or saved him for me to say, oh yeah, he stays with the team, because that's what I thought coming in. Like, oh, he has all these other things he can do, but an outside shot, like, oh, you're getting minutes. But now it's like, okay, maybe not.
Weren't all his threes that he were making from the baseline previously?
The ones that he did make.
Yeah, the ones that he did make, I thought were from the baseline. Nice, he's shooting corner threes, which
I don't
doesn't work it
know.
out.
I know they were from outside. Like it was on like kind of like the wing is where he's taken most of his threes from if my memory.
Yeah,
serves
that's
me
what I
correctly.
thought.
Yeah.
Further into the bench, somebody that's I admittedly was not high on at the start of the year. He's played very well. I don't think he should be a backup center because he's naturally power forward. He's not in the team's future plans because of his age, but Thaddeus Young has been a Swiss Army knife or a switch Army knife, according to Clan, where he's been doing just a little of everything. Scoring, he's a much better passer than I thought he was. He's an abysmal free throw shooter. I don't know what happened. Man, he went from like 70% to 60%. Now he's under the Mendoza line, 40%, just bringing the whole team down along with Jakob. But I've been happy, not here in the future plans, and I still think there's the chance the Spurs might try to move him to a contender. And yeah, I get it. Some people ask for him to start. I don't think he's going to get the starting role again because I don't think the Spurs look at Thaddeus Young and think there's our power forward for the next 5 years because he'll be pushing 40 in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
We'll go counterclockwise. Ethan, your thoughts on Thaddeus Young?
I've always liked Thaddeus Young. I was really happy when we got him back in the DeMar DeRozan trade. I never once thought he would be here long term. I thought maybe we'd try and trade him at the deadline or just let him walk going into next season because his deal is expiring, I believe. But he's played really well despite being thrown into some pretty unwinnable situations. Getting really weird, sporadic minutes, unable to really find a rhythm. It feels like being put in at center, having to guard guys like Mo Bamba and just a really versatile, athletic big men, where he's just unable to compete with his size at 6'7". And he's tried, like Drew Eubanks, he gives you 110% effort every single night. And I think his most underrated capability is his ability to switch and defend smaller guards and bigger centers. I think he's without him, I don't know if we would have won 4 games this season, in all honesty. I think he's actually been very important for our bench, especially his passing ability, because without him at the same time, because Lonnie Walker's been struggling, who's going to create offense for us off the bench? So, like I said, he's not going to stay here long term. Obviously, there's some things that could be better with Thaddeus Young, but he was dealt, again, a horrible hand, and I think he's done his best with what he was given.
Sure.
Yeah, I think kind of going off of what Ethan said at the end there, when you watch Thaddeus Young, at least when I do, it feels like he's just like, another night of this. Like when he's playing, like that's just how it looks. It looks like he knows the situation he's in, and he's just, making the best of it like the rest of the team. It's unfortunate with all of the injuries. The fact that he's playing center doesn't make, his effectiveness any better. For the situation that he's been in, he's honestly exceeded my expectations with the way that he's passed. And the thing is I'm still I feel like we still see a turnover from him trying to make a pass once a game, but that's really the only mistakes that I've really seen from him, because everything else in the defensive end just kind of comes down to size. And he gives 100% effort and usually for the most part plays great defense. And when he's matched up against somebody that he can match up with size-wise, he's going to do a solid job basically every time. We've seen that his entire career. So I'm kind of just echoing what Ethan said there. It's all about size, and I'm just, thanking him for mentoring the young guys while he's here and giving him the knowledge that he has.
So there you go, guys. We have learned that size does matter. Clan, your thought on Thaddeus?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it, man. I think kind of hit the nail on the like. He's good. He's done well as far as passing. He's actually, I agree with Ethan. He kind of surpassed my expectations. I wasn't expecting him to be this good, to be real. But yeah, he's done, very well. I think, because when is the next trade deadline? Isn't it right before
All-Star break?
Yeah. I would still look to move him if you could, get something, because there's no way he's sticking around. But he's done a great job as far as being a leader, and he's came into that role pretty nicely. So yeah, I don't know. He's good. I like what he does. That's about it. I don't know what else to say about that.
Up next, KBD getting his first start of the. Oh, did you have some to add?
Yeah, just one thing on Thad that I'm kind of thinking about too. It's also like I feels like hopefully he does get moved, and if that is the case, I think he may have just kind of been like, yes, it was a part of the trade, but hopefully he just kind of stays in his role until Zach Collins gets healthy, and then he can go somewhere else where he can contribute. So ideally, maybe it happens, because we'll have to see what happens with the Zach Collins injury, but I think that could be the wild card if that gets traded or not.
That's
depending
a good point.
on how Zach plays.
That's a good
Up
point.
next, KBD, Kada Bates. Yeah, and I like KBD. I like him off the bench, not as a starter. And to me, well, at least what I've seen, I feel like KBD is reverse Bryn Forbes, where he brings a lot defensively and has length. My man can't finish at the rim, and I don't really think there's enough there offensively where he can ever be a starter in the NBA. I really don't have much to add, except last night we saw actually some of those offensive issues he had. I believe he had 2 turnovers to start off the second quarter, and guess who went to the bench right after that? And I don't think we saw him again until the third quarter, but he had just 2 sloppy moves. I don't know if it was a pass or what it was, but I know he had 2 turnovers within 2 or 3 minutes, and then Pop yanked him because, a lot of times you're in a short leash with Pop. KBD, a quality backup, never gonna be anything more than that.
Yeah,
Plan?
3 turnovers last night.
Was it 3 turnovers? Plan, your thoughts on KBD?
I think that I don't know. I didn't like him initially. After watching him more and more this season, I will say confidently that I like him quite a bit. Like, I think the only thing with him is he's kind of slow, and that's unfortunate. But he's a very good like opportunist. I feel like in certain situations when it gets clutch and he's in there, he makes some type of play that was good for us. So I think that he's a solid player, and that's all I can say. And if you look at his stats, nothing stands out. Everything looks bad. He's one of those where you literally have to watch him play because his stats do not look great at all. But overall, I do like him. But I agree with you completely. Like, there's no way he should start. I was a little confused in this game with the starting situation. I was like, why did he start? Like, the starting lineup was so ugly. It's not like we have so many great starters to throw in there right now, but like, really? That was kind of weird. I don't know.
What did we start down 22-3 last night?
Something like that. It was bad.
I just wonder, some people have said, I've noticed in Cello, that we're kind of rushing judgments on players. A lot of the players we're talking about are in their 4th or 5th year. I mean, if they're not developing, how much time are you going to give somebody before you say, hey, it's time to move on? Right now, we're just kind of taking a look at the team. And as, all fans watching from the TV, what we feel the team needs to improve on or what can change. But I mean, do we really think Derek White's going to give us something different at this point?
He's
I will
27.
I will go off on his chat.
We're not trying to be snap judgments on players, but sometimes you just got to
straight
call it
up
like you see it. And
go off on
at
his
what
chat.
point, what's the definition of insanity? Trying the same thing over and over again
What
and
do you-
expecting a different result.
Like, what do they mean?
Dude, your thoughts on KBD?
Like, you rushing
Yeah,
the judgment?
so
Like, it's been like
when
3
he signed
seasons.
that contract after the roster
What are they
was
talking
full,
about?
I was like, all right, my man's
Come be
gonna
my
have to
chat.
go earn a roster spot. I respect it, and he did it, and kicked Luka off the team in the process, which was pretty insane.
No, Luka kicked Luka off the team.
That's true. With the Magic thing, yes, absolutely. But at the same time, he's just a solid player. He's a guy that you're happy to have on your roster. He's a young player, probably still has a little bit of upside, nothing crazy. He needs to develop more skills offensively. But other than that, he's a modern switching 3-4 wing. We've played him at center sometimes this year because of the situation we're in. Hopefully that does not continue after we get, some guys back from injury. But still, he's another guy kind of like that. Exceeded my expectations for sure. I'm happy he's on the roster. He's a solid athletic player. He gives a lot of effort, and played with D'Angelo Russell at Ohio State and was a really good college player. That I know that doesn't necessarily translate to the NBA, but just kind of the things you take from being on a good college team and being a leader, some things you can translate. But other than that, I think really he's, at best, he is a backup in the NBA. So
He's cheap. He's young. He likes the other guys on the team. He's a versatile defender. I agree with what everybody here said. I think he's a third string guy, career reserve depth player who can come in every once in a while and guard, like a 3 or a 4, like Jude said. But offensively, he's got nothing. He's got absolutely nothing to offer the team. But I like him a lot. I think he's got great chemistry with the other guys. He seems to be a very well-liked player, a good locker room guy. And I mean, for what we're paying him, I'll take it, honestly.
That's a fair assessment. Up next, Tre Jones, who we've talked about, and I didn't really talk about this when I mentioned Bryn Forbes' minutes going to Josh Primo, but I like what you guys said. Tre Jones has shown, some flashes here and there, capability as a backup point guard, and I know what I have with Bryn Forbes. I don't know what I have with Tre Jones. All I'll just say is, you know what? I'd rather see Tre Jones get Bryn Forbes minutes. We're going to put somebody out there that's just a little over 6 feet. Let's put up the guy we drafted, not the guy that we just got back from the Bucks. Ethan, your thoughts on Tre?
I'm super high on Tre Jones. I know he hasn't had a lot of play time in the actual NBA yet, but coming out of college,
really
I was high on Tre Jones. I was super stoked that we actually got him because he's one of the few guys coming out of college that's a pure point guard, and the Spurs are really good with pure point guards. A guy that looks to pass first, score second. And what he showed me in the G League this past summer, he has improved as an offensive player as far as finishing goes. He's really good off of pick and rolls, which is, if anybody's watched a Spurs game, half of our playbook is just pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll over and over and over again. So that's his specialty. And like I said earlier, he does everything that he does well is what Bryn Forbes does horribly. And that's dribble the basketball, pass the basketball, and defend. And I think that's what we really need off the bench unit anyway. So I think if you give him a chance, he will do what TSR said earlier and take that opportunity and just run with it, where guys like Lonnie Walker have kind of failed to do so, and Luka Samanic to an even greater degree as he's no longer on the team.
Jude?
You know, this may just kind of be the symptom of you know, the backup quarterback is always, you know, the most popular guy on the team. But with Tre Jones, I'm all for giving him minutes and putting him in that backup rotation role there, because if you go look at like their college tape, every point guard we have on the team, the one who looks like the most natural point guard is Tre Jones. Granted, he also played at Duke, so you know you have that. But I think they were kind of a down year the 2 years he was there. Definitely didn't win national. Well, I don't know. He might have won a national title. I don't know enough about college basketball and the history to be talking about it. But anyways, going back to Tre Jones though, and what we've seen from him this year, he has been a fantastic cutter. That was a skill that I did not know that he had. And that might just been from a lack of tape. But the way that he has come in this year, whether it's been Thad, whether it's been DeJounte, he's been able to kind of create like an offensive play for us with him cutting to the rim, which is something that we haven't had on offense this year. A lot, it feels like we've just been, all right, somebody get an ISO, I'll dribble around, can't find anything, I'll pass it to somebody else. Where when he's come in, it's like, okay, he's been able to not only prove himself as a point guard, we just know he has that, but he's also proven himself as a off-ball player with his cutting ability as well. And we know that he's a solid defender. Just like Ethan said, I mean, the only thing that Tre Jones needs to get better at is shooting, and he's not even like, he's not starting from like a horrible place. There are Spurs, like he's probably starting a little bit higher than DeJounte, if I'm being honest, whenever it comes to his shooting ability. At least from what I've seen, at least if you go off his college stats and G League as well. So we'll have to see how he develops. I think that he's a player that we have a lot of hope for, depending on how his career progresses. So hopefully we can utilize him in the right ways.
Bryn?
I don't know. Maybe I just haven't seen enough of Tre Jones. Like, I've watched all the games, but the most that I've seen from him is just back cutter. Like, he's just a nice cutter off, you know, screen. I don't know. I think without, I'll say without like Thaddeus Young, I don't think he would look as impressive. As far as him being a pure point guard, I definitely see that. Like, I could see him more than like being a good, solid backup point guard, but more than that, I guess I've just never been high on Tre Jones. I just don't see him as like that worth playing. I don't know. That's just me. I don't know. I know.
Now we
That's
get to
me.
no, it is what it is. I mean,
Hey.
Who knows? We're gonna get to the players now that aren't really playing this year, and I'm not sure we're gonna have a lot to talk about them. The first one is,
Are you guys
depending
angry?
on which channel you're on mine, it's
Did I make you
Primo.
angry?
Sorry, clan. Josh Primo has a load of talent. We've seen it at 18. Let's be honest, if this kid turns into a superstar, not only does it help our team, but it would sorely help all our channels, because people love Josh Primo content when he's out there playing. I know there's an argument to keep him in the G League to develop him, but then I look at somebody like Luka Samanic, who tore it up last year, who's tearing it up again this year in the G League with the Knicks. I don't know what the Knicks G League team is, but he just
The Westchester Knicks.
The Westchester Knicks. He went for 32 a few nights ago, but none of that has translated at all in the NBA for Luka Samanic. So I get giving him minutes in the G League right now, but we're 4-12. At some point, I think we got to throw him to the fire this year. Maybe after the All-Star break, you know, give him some more time to develop in Austin. But I mean, seriously, fans are chanting his name when we're at home. Give the fans something to be excited about, because right now, it was really sad watching the Spurs game last night, and that darn arena was half empty. I mean, there was almost nobody there. Your thoughts, Ethan? Actually, no, Clint, we'll start with you. Go this weekend. Clint.
Yeah, so Josh Primo, he is that guy. He is amazing. I think that he's going to end up being like a new franchise player for us. Like, I really do. I think that he has the capability of being able to build around when it's all said and done, once his skills get even more polished. As far as our approach right now, I completely agree with you. I actually been saying the exact same thing. Like, I could see him getting minutes after All-Star break. I think right now it's okay for him to be in the G League. He's even talking about how he's growing defensively. He's growing in certain situations. Like, one of the games, he went like 1 for 7, played terrible in the first half. But then, he got that opportunity in the second half. Now, if he was on the Spurs right now, there's no way people would say, "Oh no, keep him in the game after 1-7." Everyone would want him to sit after going 1-7, and the Pop would sit him. And the thing as well is with the team that we have right now, it's like tryouts, man. I think we're really putting everyone else in the fire. Like allow him to do his thing in the G League. Everyone else get under the fire, and see if any of you are worth the future. But I think that they know that Josh Primo is the future, and that's okay. Like, we can keep him right there. He can still develop while we're grinding out with these other guys.
Josh Primo right now, he's like our baby Jesus in the manger, and we got to make sure we take him out at the right time. We can't take him out too early. We can't take him out too late. We got to make sure that it's right, so that he can be our
timer on his shoulder,
so that he can be our savior. That is much needed right now. No,
was that a good take?
He's 18, the youngest player in the draft. Already kind of looks like a knockdown shooter.
Are you guys okay with my take?
What we've seen,
I think
he's
had
some
take.
off nights, like Clan just mentioned.
Yeah.
Which is why I think that it's a good idea to continue to let him be in the G League. I think the Spurs should just go through their process, like they went through with DeJounte, like they went through with Derek, like whatever that is, maybe. And I know that kind of sounds like the whole year, but I think that at least they should get it to the All-Star break, kind of like Clan said, before you just start throwing him out there. And because you don't want to throw him into this situation with this crappy team, and then his confidence gets shot, and then something happens. And I understand that people probably in the chat right now are like, his confidence is going to be fine, but like, this will be the last football reference I'll have on the show, but you can ruin a freshman quarterback if you throw them in a game, early, just like in a big game early in their career, and then their confidence is shot and they never get it back. I can't tell you how many college quarterbacks I've seen that happen to. And I know that this is a different sport, but I still think the same idea is applicable. You don't want to, throw. I don't think that this is going to happen to Primo just because of his mentality is another Primo thing that I love about him. Just the way that he carries himself off and on the floor. It's so stoic, and it seems very for such a young player, it's just very intriguing. It's not something that you see very often, but we got to let him make that. If he's still going 1-7 in the G League, I don't want to throw him out there with this team. I'm just going to be honest. I think, we give him a little bit more time, but I don't want to ruin him with this roster. He needs to be put in a situation where he can succeed. We can't just throw him into a dumpster fire and ruin him. We can't let this fire spread to him. We got to keep it, on Lonnie.
You didn't start. Keep it on Lonnie. Ouch.
No, I know. I'm sorry. I felt so bad saying that, but it's the truth. Your casualties, you got to choose the right ones.
Dude, I kind of see what you're saying there, throwing young players out and, putting them onto a bad team. Could it affect their confidence? Could they...
We've kind of already seen it a little bit.
You think we've seen it with Primo?
Well, with Lonnie. No, on this roster. You know what I mean?
Here's what I'll say. With all due respect to Lonnie Walker, I don't think he's mentally strong enough to have it every night in basketball. He doesn't have that it factor. I don't want to say he's not mentally strong. He doesn't have that supreme elite confidence.
Block it out.
Yeah, like Tom Brady has, the guys that gets thrown into the fire. And, if Josh Primo's meant to be the guy that's really going to carry this organization, there's no time this season that the Spurs throw out there won't be the right time, because he should be ready to say, hey, yeah, man, I know he's 18. We do have to factor that in, but if he's ready to, go out there and start his basketball career, there's no point. We can't just drop him in there and he won't succeed on some level, because either he has it or he doesn't. I mean, we could develop it. We saw it with Lucas Hominic. We developed him for 2 years in the G League. He clearly did not have it mentally to be a San Antonio Spurs. Just the effort wasn't there. The last player we saw him giving up on a fast break was what did him in. Either you have it or you don't. And I get maybe, taking it easy with them. I think I agree with what I kind of said here, and you guys are agreeing. Keep them in the G League to the All-Star break. And if we have 10 wins or 12 wins, and I hate to say that,
but it might be there.
It might be there, because I don't think Pop gets the record this year. We're not pacing to get it.
I think right now we're just at the start of the roller coaster, and it's about to be a long drop down.
Yeah.
I think the guys can tell. I think they can tell.
I actually agree with you, TSR, on that. I think if his confidence is shot from putting him in this early, and it destroys him, or I don't think that he's not who I thought he was or who he could be in that regard. Lonnie Walker, that's a huge issue. If your confidence can be shot like that, you're just not that guy. I think if you're going to be that guy, you're just going to be that guy. I'm not convinced that, like, I don't know, if we're, like you mentioned Tom Brady, like if Tom Brady was in a terrible situation, rookie year, and he did have to fight to get to where he was, actually, didn't he?
He took Drew Bledsoe got injured. He just got thrown into the fire.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're going to be that guy regardless. You're just going to be that guy.
I want to give you guys a quick different analogy, though. I don't know if there's any UFC fans here.
I am. Actually, I'm a big UFC
So, Jude, you probably would get some of these. I've seen so many times in the UFC where the champion's supposed to fight fighter A. Something happens with fighter A, and he's out. One of the biggest examples I think of was Michael Bisping, a guy that never got a title shot in his career. All of a sudden gets thrust into the main event, and here's your opportunity. One of two things happens. You step up and you be a champion, and you go out and win the biggest opportunity of your life, or you crumble with the spotlight on you in the main event. And I've seen that happen too. So I agree with what Clan just said. Either you got it or you don't. And I've seen it time and time again in the UFC where somebody steps up and they show, hey, I deserve this spot, and they go out and get it. And Josh is going to have that mentality. If he's going to be the next David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, or Kawhi Leonard, when the opportunity is given to him, no matter when it is, he's going to have to step up and take it. If he collapses under that pressure, then he's
I
not
agree.
the guy.
I agree with TSR.
That's facts. I think like listening to y'all, I think a better way I could have worded what I said. We can't throw him out there if he's not NBA ready, like with schemes and all that type of stuff. I guess that's what I was saying.
That's fair.
No, because that's a fact though. Because he's gonna, like, if you're that guy, like, you're gonna be that guy regardless though. So
yeah, Kobe and LeBron both got going with, they were 19, and Josh will turn 19, I think, in December. So, I mean, either he's it or not. And speaking of who's it, you're up, Ethan. Your thoughts on Josh Primo?
Well, I love Josh Primo. I would love to give him minutes now if I could. I think the All-Star break is probably a more likely thing, but it's really not up to us at all, because Pop in the front office might not give him any minutes
up to me.
at all, and that's just unfortunately a possibility at this point, just because of how we treat our young guys, and we have so many players that are trying to prove that they belong on the team, fighting for contracts, that sort of thing. But at the same time, I agree with what TSR and Clan and Judy, what y'all were saying about if he's the guy, he's just going to be the guy. And I think back to Kobe Bryant when he was 19 years old. Didn't he airball 3 or 4 times in a row in one game? And Shaq was like, hey, man, it's all right. He'll get him next time. And Kobe just shrugged it off and came back the next game and dropped however many points and became one of the greatest players of all time. Dropped 81 in a game. And Primo reminds me of Kobe Bryant. I don't want to put too many, comparisons on this kid.
Setting the bar low, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, he's got the fro and everything, and just his demeanor, his body language, how he carries himself, his just confidence is off the hook. So I would love to throw him out there and just see what he's capable of, because they don't have any film on him, so he might be able to surprise some guys with some pretty incredible games. So I'd love to see what he's just made of. You know what I mean?
Now we get to the point of players that just aren't really playing much or aren't playing. We'll start off with Jacques Landale. I'll leave my opinion for the last. And then, Jude, I haven't had you start off first. So, Jude, Jacques Landale. There's not a lot to talk about, but...
Look, man, those 10 minutes he played were amazing. They were beautiful when they were in there, but that's all we've seen. And it was in garbage time against third stringers for the most part. So, really, he is intriguing because of his proven shooting ability. I think that shooting 39.6% on 6 attempts in the NBL, I think that you've proven you can be a solid shooter from the outside in a professional basketball organization. Like I said, we saw like a little bit of that, as little as you could possibly get in the minutes we've seen from him. This whole rookie thing, I don't really expect him to get minutes this year. But I'd like to see him get minutes. I think that if he was healthy, I would like to see him probably playing over Eubanks. But I just don't know if that's going to happen because of the way the Spurs do things. But as of right now, he looks like a really intriguing pickup that could potentially be a rotation player for sure.
Plan?
I think that Jacques Landale, I really like his game. I think the only weakness he's going to have is defense. Not saying that his footwork or like his fundamentals aren't there. He plays fundamentally good defense. I think he's just going to be kind of overpowered against bigger guys, and that's unfortunate. So I don't think you're going to be able to play him a lot at center, and when you do, it's not going to look great. But overall, what I've seen from him, it seems like he has pretty high IQ, makes the right passes, right screens, shot selection's really good. I actually have really high hopes for him. Unfortunately, if he's not a star level, which I'm assuming he's not going to be, but if he's not necessarily a star level player, then he's just going to be another one of the guys where a lot of us are complaining, and a lot of us are going to be like, why are we playing? He's just not going to look great if he doesn't reach that potential. But I don't know. He's good. I like him. He's going to be all right.
Ethan?
I mean, you might as well throw him out there. I mean, I don't want to make any assumptions about his play. I'm not going to lie. I haven't watched him outside of the Olympics and then the 5 or 10 minutes he's gotten on the Spurs here and there, mostly in the preseason. He looks good. We need size. Size has been an issue all season long. Pop has said in the offseason he wants to play with rotations, and thus far he really hasn't played with them that much. So if he's healthy, is he back from COVID protocol? I think he's already back, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, just might as well throw him out there. I mean, especially if we're losing, see if he can turn it on like Lonnie Walker did back in the day against the Rockets. Maybe he's a spark plug. Maybe he has a great game. Who knows? But at this point, we're probably not going to win. So just throw him out there and see what he's made of.
I was gonna say this too, like with Jock Landale. You guys know this too, but I think the main reason he didn't play a lot was because of the concussion. So it was just so many setbacks for him.
That's tough because he had the concussion, but around the same time, my star quarterback, Daniel Jones, not a star quarterback, from New York Giants, had a concussion where he was carted off the field and was walking wobbly, played the next week, and that's in a full contact sport. So I'm not so sure the concussion kept him out for as long. You're not alone to claim. A lot of Spurs fans think, he's still out because of the concussion. I'm like, is he though?
Well, I think Popovich confirmed that. Like at least Popovich said it. I mean, he said that was because of the concussion that they kind of been real hesitant with him. And then the safety protocol stuff came up, and it was just kind of bad. I don't know.
I'll say this about Landale. I heard you guys call him a rookie. I don't think he should be getting the rookie treatment. He's 26 years old with a lot of foreign international basketball experience. He was the NBL Finals
bronze
MVP
medalist.
Champion, bronze medalist. This is not a guy that's just coming out of 4 years of college that is green. He has 8 years of basketball now under his, on his resume, but we're treating him like a guy that's played 1 year in college. I would much rather see him get minutes over Drew Eubanks. I know for sure what Drew Eubanks' ceiling is. As much as I like Drew, I have no idea what Jock Landale's ceiling is because I haven't seen him play except for here and there. He had 10 points, actually. I think it was in 5 minutes. Somebody put it in the chat. We have nothing to lose. We're 4-12. When he's good to go, I know there's loyalty to Drew. I get that. I respect that. Drew Eubanks is never going to be a starter with the San Antonio Spurs. Jock Landale, I don't know. If he's a guy that can start going out there hitting threes and, spread the floor, which we need desperately, but still kind of give us some type of Jakob defense with 9 or 10 rebounds, maybe a block or two, but just be much more of an offensive weapon and hit free throws, I think we got to give him a chance at least to show us what he's got. And if we're not going to play him, then the heck we bring him over for?
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Joe Wieskamp, I got nothing to say. I didn't follow his college career. I know he had a big game winner. He's been playing well in the G League. I think he's going to be in G League all year.
Wheezy F Bucket. That's his nickname.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything to add on Joe?
Oh,
Joe Mama. Sorry.
Joe. Oh! Got him.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Yeah, that was good. We're going to go with Joe Wieskamp, G League all year, barring something weird happening.
Yes.
Last but not least, a player that has...
I think Clan had something to say about...
Sure, go ahead, Clan.
I have something to say, too.
Yeah, I want to add something. I think, and I know this is crazy, I think him and Primo are going to be a dynamic duo. I think they're going to be a really good duo together. I think that they have a really good relationship right now. Obviously, you're drafted in the same class. It's just going to happen. But overall, what I've seen from Joe Weezy, dude, I think he's really good as far as just letting that thing rip. But the more I watch him, the more I'm pretty confident that he could be a pretty decent NBA player. Like he's the real deal. Not afraid of any moment. He's hitting really big shots in the G League. He's basically leading the team. And even last game, he outscored Primo pretty decently. So overall, Wieskamp's really good. And even if I go off the NBA during the preseason, he was good too. Like I love Weezy.
I like him. It's just I see another player that's in that 6'5", 6'6" range that we have so many of. But Jude, you said you had something you wanted to add.
Yeah, just the thing with Wieskamp, I mean, Clan honestly said a lot of it, the way that he's been performing in the G League. Ooh, wait, 1 second, y'all. Okay, sorry, I had music going in the background. But regardless of that, Wieskamp has been a proven shooter, and I think he's somebody who could kind of be like McDermott. I think obviously he shouldn't be playing the 4, he should be playing, one of those 3-2 positions, but he is better driving to the paint and a better rebounder probably than people would expect. And on top of that, he's a solid 3-point shooter, which is the main reason he drafted him. But he's not just that. Like, he's got other skills, and his 6. There you go. Anyways, lost completely track of it. But no, you're good. I wasn't sure what you were saying, but
I was showing the chat 6'6".
Yeah. Weezy has been. He looks like a really good player, and his chemistry with Joe, like Clan mentioned, or not Joe, he is Joe, with Josh Primo, I could see them running pick and rolls together and him fading off that, and that can open up other things for the offense. Those dudes can play, and I think that he's definitely a guy that can be a rotation NBA player for sure. He gives a lot of effort too, more athletic than you'd expect.
Are you going off of that that play? Oh, crap, what game was it? I mean, they only play like 2 games, but I guess
he went for 22.
Yeah,
one of them.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that play where they kept giving each other screens back and forth, like who's gonna hit the big three at the end, and end up being Joe. That was pretty dope.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I'll have to check that out. They were playing a little screen ball.
Yeah, it was in a crucial situation too, like near the end of the game. We really needed a shot to tie it, and they were trying to get it either Josh or Joe open, and they kept going back and forth, and Joe ended up being the one to get open. Knocked it down.
Last but not least, he has yet to play 1 minute with the San Antonio Spurs. The Portland Trailblazers thought he had a lot of potential. Unfortunately, injuries have derailed his career. We got him on a fairly cheap contract. A lot of Spurs fans, myself included, are hoping this player can be the player that the Blazers thought he could be when he was drafted, and really maybe be our starting future power forward, because we need some size out there, clearly. I did not follow him all in Portland, so let's get some thoughts from you guys if you followed any of his career. We're obviously talking about Zach Collins. Ethan, I'll start with you.
He'll be an upgrade. He'll be, I'll love to have him in the rotation. Like you said, he addresses a need for size. He's a much better shooter than I thought he was. I've watched some of his highlight reels, some of his film. He's really a big body, and that's really our number one need right now, is just a big body that can battle down low, get some rebounds. So I'll take him, honestly. I don't want to say too much. I don't think he's going to be a savior per se. I don't think all of a sudden we're going to become a winning team this season because of Zach Collins, but he will definitely have an impact that we definitely need.
Dude.
So this is Trey Lyles 2.0 in my opinion, and we're hoping, and I think there's a lot more like hope for this one, like especially with consistent tape from Zach in Portland.
I disagree.
But there were some mistakes in that tape too if you go watch it. So hopefully the Spurs can kind of hone in what he does well, use that effectively, and kind of work on the things, and this new development staff can kind of maybe help, maybe not completely fix, but help improve the areas where he struggled a little bit. So if that can happen and the Spurs can get the most out of him like they wanted with Trey Lyles, then he'll be an effective player. I think at worst, even if he ends up being Trey Lyles 2.0, which we don't want to happen, he'll at least be 6'11", which is going to help us. So I think at worst, like Ethan said, he's going to be an upgrade. But I think that there's also like an off chance. This dude's only 23 years old, played at Gonzaga. I think that this is a small chance, probably not likely, but I think there's a chance that the Spurs could unlock something in him that maybe wasn't unlocked in Portland. And, maybe his ceiling could be raised a little bit just being with the Spurs development staff. But he's also coming off that foot injury. We're going to have to see how that goes with big men. So there's a lot of question marks with Zach Collins, but at the same time, there's also like, okay, I think we know his floor, and I think that his floor is better than what we have right now, coming off our post on the bench. So,
dude, I think, and please correct me if I'm wrong, chat or anybody else in the stream right now, I think he had multiple surgeries on his ankle, and that's what he's coming off of, which is really a little alarming. So he's young, hopefully he bounces back, but I also hope there's not a lot of screws and pins holding that thing together.
I guess my thing is like, well, I think about Rudy Gay and how Rudy Gay basically, career could have ended, and he was fairly healthy for the most part with the Spurs, and that's the big. That's big due to us. Even Tim Duncan had a really bad knee. The Spurs kind of worked through that. Manu Ginobili completely tried to injure himself every single game, and we worked through that. So, like, I think if Zach Collins is going to be healthy anywhere, it'll be in San Antonio. With that being said, a healthy Zach Collins is like borderline star level of talent. Like when he's on. He has crazy amount of intensity. His defense is a huge, even with us having Jakob, who's a good defender in my opinion, his defense is a big upgrade from that. Scoring wise, he can basically score on any part of the court. Like I think overall, his attitude is what's really going to set him over the edge. Like if you go back and look at even like clips from him, people have made compilations of this guy where he goes against teams, they talk trash, he talks trash right back, and then he just like blocks them on the other end, or he makes a big shot on. Like he's capable of doing that. And
he's some nasty.
Yeah, he's nasty, man. I think.
Get factor.
Yeah, I think he can. I think he can really show out for us if he stays healthy. That's the only thing, just staying healthy. Also, I don't even think it was a big, because some people said that like it's a big risk. I don't think it was a big risk. Like $7 million, and then you're only guaranteed half that $7 million in the last year. You're guaranteed none of it. That is not a risk. Like we can get a lot out of that if he stays healthy.
Yeah, Clint, I think his contract was $7 guaranteed this year, half next year in his final season, nothing. So if it doesn't work out by next season, we can part ways.
And there's 2 team options, I'm pretty sure. Like both of the years are team options.
Were they?
So like none. At least that's how it is in 2K. Maybe Ronnie got it wrong, but he usually does that. He does do that, yeah. He does. But yeah, in the video game, there's 2. Like it's a player option for both years. So.
I hope he pans out.
Was that a good take?
Desperately need size, and I think that's one thing we can all.
Are you guys okay with that take?
Obviously, one, we want what's best for the team, but this team
is
just
right?
So
we all agree on that.
Small, and we used to talk about the size being an issue last year and the year before, but I think this year it's at a whole new level. We're just getting decimated on offensive rebounds by the other team, and we're just getting killed on second and third chance points. Teams are dunking left and right. The amount of alley-oop dunks we're seeing on us, because we really only have one big man out there, and if Jakob's not right by the rim, they're just easily dunking. And sometimes it's Jakob's guy who's dunking on because he's too busy, I don't know, looking for how to shoot, free throws for dummies. I don't know.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want to talk about with you guys, this is a touchy subject for Spurs fans, but it has to be addressed because it comes up a lot on my channel. I'm sure it comes up on your channels as well. Should Pop go after the season? A lot of Spurs fans say he's earned the right to be here for as long as he wants, and I say I get that. That being said, if he has a losing season this year, comes back next year, has a losing season, at what point do you say this is no longer working? Not to mention, Greg Popovich, while one of the greatest NBA coaches of all time, has been coaching in the NBA for 25 years, just as a head coach. And the game has changed substantially from when he started with the Spurs to where we are now. And some fans, and even myself, wonder, is his coaching style just not work with today's NBA, or maybe the players, or both? Ethan, I'll start with you.
I'm not ready to go that far yet, because I know he's been around for a very long time, but he's always seemed to change his coaching style as the game has progressed. Since when was he here first? Was it 96? Was his
96,
first year?
97. Interim coach when David Robinson got hurt, and he took over when Tim was drafted.
Yes, I mean, and he's always gradually changed his play style around whatever personnel he had on the roster, and he's always been very successful, obviously getting 50 wins every season for, 2 decades, and then making the playoffs every year until a couple years ago.
22 years of 50 wins, 18 years of the playoffs, I believe, is what we did.
Yes, exactly. I mean, his resume speaks for itself. I think that Pop will just retire on his own whenever his contract is over. I don't envision him wanting to continue with another contract, another extension, because this team is so young and he is so old and he has really nothing left to prove other than getting that all-time win record, which I'm sure he'll get it. Maybe not this season, but isn't his contract all the way through next season as well? Anyway, his current one.
I think it may be through 2023. Let me double check that.
He's the president, so I mean, technically, he can.
True, he can extend himself if he wants to. I don't envision he will do that. I also have no desire to fire Popovich or tell Popovich like, okay, it's time for you to resign. Like, I don't want to do that because I don't think there's a better.
It is 2023.
2023. Okay. I'm not sold that there's a better option just out there somewhere, like ready to be signed, some secret unknown head coach that's going to turn these guys around. I think the main problem is the roster and, you know, the talent level that he has at his disposal. I don't think it's coaching. I know he makes some questionable decisions with rotations, but also that can also be a symptom of just who he has on the roster. He doesn't know who to put in the game because we don't have any big men other than Jakob Poeltl at this point in time. And we have so many guards that all want to prove that they deserve their contracts coming up, or they deserve to be, you know, compensated as such, as a star player, be the future of the Spurs. So I think there's just too many variables to point out at Pop and say, you're the reason we're losing. I don't think that's the case. So I would just let him play out his contract. Hopefully he decides, you know, it's over for me. I'm done. Nothing left to prove. Peace out, San Antonio. You're welcome. 5 rings. Good luck down the road. So that's where I'm at right now. I think that's probably where he's going to be.
Ethan, I'd like to bounce back off of something you said, where, you know, Pop is dealing
facts.
with, you know, the lack of size on the team, etc. But doesn't Pop have a lot of say on the players that we bring in? So this roster is also, you know, it's not only, you know, the front office, but it's Popfo for a reason. Isn't he part, you know, this is the team he assembled. And we, you know, the last 2 years we were trying to keep winning with DeMar DeRozan, Patty Mills, Rudy Gay, clearly in LA until he left and then retired and then came back and now is all of a sudden good in Brooklyn. I don't know what that's all about, but you know, I feel like he should shoulder a little of that blame too. And it's hard to call somebody out that's done so much for the franchise. But I watched some old Spurs DVDs and I saw the relationship he had with Tim Duncan. Like they were like this, and you know, I don't see that. At least maybe I'm missing it, but I don't feel like he has that with the current roster where, you know, that tight connection. And part of it could be his age too. He is not a father to them like he was with Timmy. He's a grandfather to them.
I'm going in.
His mentality's definitely changed, but it's also a completely different vibe because with Timmy and Tony and Manu, like other than his first season, Pop always was like, we're going to be right there in the playoff hunt. We're going to be right there in the championship hunt. So it was a little bit different, I think. But you're right. The roster's definitely a partial product of Popovich. But at the same time, it was derailed a little bit by big old number 2, the Claw, who decided to, you know, really, you know, and just derail the whole process. But yeah, go ahead, Jude.
And also the other thing is with Pop, it's like maybe this roster isn't assembled to be like, maybe Pop, this roster is purposely assembled to be a young, like, transition year team where we see what we get out of the guys, which is why you see what I'm saying. So maybe it's both. Maybe it's, yes, he did assemble the roster, but also the roster isn't assembled necessarily to win. You know, you see what I'm saying? So it's like, you can't, I don't know. It's a very interesting thing because while he did trade for him and you do, like, you could get mad at Pop for like, hey, these are the guys you're playing. And you know, told us it was going to be a super exciting brand of basketball to watch every night, you know, in the preseason interviews. And now we're all angry, but it's like, I don't know. And not everything is black and white, if you get what I'm saying. Like, there's always nuance.
Yeah.
Did you want to add some more things in regards to Pop, or did that kind of?
I mean, I'm with Ethan there. Coaching, you know, coaching sometimes depends on talent. I've kind of learned that. I have a really close friend that I work with who's been getting into coaching basketball, and that's one of the things he's telling me. And another thing, this will be the last thing I'll say here, is he actually trains the Spurs sometimes, and he did a session with Tre Jones and Zach Collins recently, and Zach's looking pretty good. I totally forgot. So, like, health-wise, he's looking pretty good, and he's training right now. So that's another good sign with him.
Good.
Yeah.
before we get to Clay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate just for a moment for Greg Popovich. But then, before I say anything, I love Pop. I love what he's done for the Spurs.
I'm going in.
He's a great coach, but he was also blessed that when he became the full-time
and he admitted
coach,
that recently.
He had Tim Duncan and David Robinson, who of course was passing the torch pretty much at that point, but was still a good two-way player. He inherited that roster. And then David retired, but immediately you have Tony and Manu coming in, obviously filling that role. And he has the big three for almost 2 decades. And then at the end of the Duncan era, he gets Kawhi Leonard, who was one of the best, and then for 2 years was the best defender in the NBA. And now he's in a different position where he doesn't have a superstar. He doesn't have an elite player. He doesn't have what we've had on all our championship teams. One thing I've realized watching these Spurs and previous Spurs teams, we always had an elite two-way player. David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Kawhi Leonard. We don't have that right now. For the first time in my Spurs fandom, we don't have an elite two-way player. So this is uncharted territory for Pop. So I guess my question is going to Clan, is he a good enough coach to take the talent that's maybe but get them to wins? Because we saw it with, to use a football reference, the Philadelphia Eagles, I want to say it was 2 years ago, half their starting roster was injured, and they still won the division because the coach was able to take what they had and assemble a winner out of nothing. Does Pop have that ability, or does your guy just stink that much?
Well, football is completely different.
It is.
Because if you're talking about NBA, like, it is predicated on talent. Like football, you have to have really great coaches. You have to have great coordinators. You have to have great management. Everything has to be pretty great. In basketball, I mean, you put LeBron James on a team and you're a contender. So like, I think that's a little different. Like when it comes to Pop, like I'm not gonna say like it seems like everything that's wrong with the team right now was stuff that was kind of out of Popovich's control. It will be different if right now the team, this is the only way I would criticize, like full on criticize Pop needs to get out of here, is if the team seemed as if they weren't resonating with him, because it seems like they're still good. Like we're still a team. They're still playing hard every single night. We're still close in these games. They are responding to Pop. They're just not good. Like if I look at even the Warriors, as good as they look right now, people already forgot that last season and the season prior, when they didn't have, when they didn't have Steph Curry, they won 19 games. So like no coach, I do believe this. I don't think one coach could go into Popovich's seat right now and win a plethora of games. I just don't think that's the case. And one thing that I will add as well is I just don't think, as it stands right now with this roster that we have, that Pop can do much with it. And even if I'm thinking about DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge, they didn't say one negative thing about Pop. Every single thing you hear about Pop is good. And if Pop didn't have it, then he wouldn't have won the Olympics. That was a big thing that was going on. Like, there's no way he can win it. He's lost it. He doesn't have it anymore. And everyone's saying that the USA team looked like trash, and they didn't look good. But Pop was able to get them together and get that win. So it's all about talent. If Pop had talent right now, if he had a Steph Curry on this squad, we'll be talking about how he's the coach of the year again. So to me, ever since Kawhi left, that's when this team has went downhill, and that's completely out of his control. And he tried to bring it back together and couldn't. The Kawhi situation was just too bad. I remember, I know you guys probably remember this, he even tried to talk to, because he was going to work his Pop magic to bring Kawhi back. Because when he went to talk to Kawhi, he was like, look, I just want to talk to you. I don't want any parts of Uncle Dennis. Can he not be here? And Uncle Dennis was still showed up, and he talked for Kawhi the entire time. So it was nothing Pop could have done to keep that thing together. And it's just unfortunate. But yeah, he just don't have the talent. And no one can do anything with this roster right now. Like, what can you do? Like, you can't force Bryn Forbes to shoot threes, you know? Like, yeah.
And to play the other side, because I was playing devil's advocate, because I try to, I don't just want to be the Spurs homer the whole time on this channel. And I know you guys will also, you'll call it like you see it. Talent's a big part of it. For years, and this is another NFL thing, but for years and years, it was Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Who needed who? And as soon as Tom Brady left the Patriots, they're coming back a little bit this year. But Tom Brady went and won a Super Bowl.
Jones is coming with a vengeance.
But Brady wins a Super Bowl. I see people mentioning Phil Jackson. could you be in a better situation as a head coach than going to a team with Michael Jordan, who's my GOAT? Then you go to the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq. I mean, you're set up to succeed. I mean, almost anybody could have coached those teams probably and won a championship. So I get it. Pop clearly doesn't have the talent, and I do agree with the chat. I do want to see him get the record, but the Spurs only win 16 games.
They're going to have to do that.
I mean, he'll be back next year, and if there's also legacy. And to use a UFC reference, I'm a Chuck Liddell fan. But he's lost, I believe, 6 of his last fights or 5 of his last 6 fights. And I don't want to see Pop be that fighter that hangs around too long and just after having a fantastic career of so many 50-win seasons, just all of a sudden losing season, and besides just stick around another year or two, losing. You know what I mean? Just you look at all that greatness and then you just see just a bunch of losing seasons. Because a lot of fans, not all, but some are, what have you done for me lately? And they might look at Greg Popovich and be like, well, he only won because of Tim Duncan. Look what he did without him. Nothing. I mean, I don't want to see that fantastic winning percentage he has had as a head coach just get totally derailed like a baseball player that's hit over 300 for their whole career, but they decided to stick around 3 years in their 40s and hit 200 each year. Now they're below 300 hitter. I know it may sound weird, just talking
no,
like
people
that,
will look back in context and they'll be like, "Oh, look at these 2 years for Pop," and you don't want his legacy to be ruined.
If they do that, I think we can just make the assumption they're stupid. Like, I don't care. Like,
they're uninformed.
I don't care,
Casual.
man. I don't care. Like, if you say that, I don't care. Like, say whatever. Look, he doesn't have the talent. It's okay. Popovich is still that guy. What he's done was legendary, and he's going to be the most winning coach ever. So, I mean, people can say what they want, but I mean, I don't. I guess this is just how I am. I think until I see that the team genuinely is not responding to Popovich, I'm going to say Pop can play or coach. It's just many years that we won 15 plus games a season. So if you want to coach 20 more years, I'm cool. I don't care.
How tall is Pop? We could always put him in a shooting guard or small forward if the team's struggling.
Air Force.
He used the ball.
Air Force legend.
He used the ball.
Why not? I do want to see him get the record, and yeah, to be honest with you, I've been playing devil's advocate on both sides of Pop. My biggest issue with Greg Popovich, to be completely honest,
I agree with you,
is I don't think another coach would do a better job right now. I'm not saying that just as a Spurs fan. Anybody in this situation, we are lacking talent and size. But one thing that I will be critical of the last 3 years, and I won't even mention earlier, is the rotation. Sometimes I don't get it. There's been too many games where I've seen a player have the hot hand, especially last year. DeJounte would be just balling out. Whoa, we're at that time. You got to put Patty Mills in. I don't care that you're on fire. You got to put Patty Mills in. It's got to stick to this rotation. And that's one thing that has driven me crazy as a Spurs fan, is seeing somebody on fire and then that minute's there and we make the change.
Honestly, that is I would say that's his biggest weakness, and that's kind of maybe one of his only weaknesses. Like, because even if you go back to like 2013? 2013, yeah, it was 2013 finals. The fact that he didn't have Tim Duncan at the end with the whole Ray Allen thing, like that's always he's human, and that's his flaw. If we ever point towards what's the flaw of Popovich, that can be his flaw. He can get a little too comfortable sometimes with certain players on the floor.
I completely agree with that. I mean, you can go back and you can find like numerous instances in Manu's career where that same kind of thing happened. He'd be super hot and Pop would be like, "Oh, starter's coming back in." So
there's a guy in the comments section I want to say that's kind of ripping my man Clan here, and he said it's the Truth Clan, accept it, but he said accept as in like accept for that instead of accept. So, I got you, Clan. I'm always here for you, my man.
Thank you.
I got you.
I'll say this as we and I'm sorry, I went much longer than I thought we would, guys. I thought we'd do this for an hour. We've actually gone for almost 2 hours, so my apologies for keeping you all on tonight. It's been really fun talking to Spurs fans and talking about the team. No matter what we say, and this is to my fellow content creators and everybody in the chat, we're all going to probably have different opinions at one point of who should play, who should, not be on the team, different opinions on Pop. But in the end, we all are Spurs fans, and we want this team to win. And it's a new situation for all of us to see this team.
I low-key want us to lose.
Last season was our first year ever, our first time ever in Spurs history they had 2 losing seasons in a row. I want you to think about that. First time in the team's history since 76 they came into the NBA, they ever had 2 losing seasons in a row. And now this is likely, barring a miracle, the third season in a row we're going to be losing. So it's tough also for us to kind of, handle this. I mean, as a New York Giants fan, I'm used to losing with them. But for the Spurs, they were always my crush. I'm like, well, the Giants suck, but I got the Spurs. And now I got, I don't know, I got nothing.
Hey, man.
Yeah. I was like that with my Cowboys.
Oof, man. I don't know what happened in the last 2 weeks playing. I thought for sure they were the top 3 team in the NFL, but I don't know if Amari Cooper being out's hurt them or if teams have figured out their offense a little bit.
They still are. They just had a few slip-ups. I mean, only 3 losses. They're all right.
Hey, the Chiefs went through a slump. They're going through theirs.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, it happens.
Some teams slump for a game or two. Some teams slump for a decade. It happens.
Yeah. Watch them on Thanksgiving. We'll get that dub.
So I put the link numerous times in the chat tonight. I put a link to both channels in the description below, Clan the Spurs Fan and SSPN. I want to thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Anything you want to say in closing?
I love
Spurs, go.
I love everyone.
We need more of that in the world, Clan.
Yeah.
Very accepting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not, never mind.
Man.
We got the Hawks. We have the Hawks tomorrow night. That should be a winnable game, but yeah.
I'll be there.
Are you actually gonna be there?
Yes, sir. I'll be there.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll be at the game Friday too. Yeah, the Celtics game. So.
Oh, dope.
SSPN taking over, I guess.
At least the Spurs aren't the Rockets. Well,
True.
We're not that far off though. What do we have? 3 more wins in them?
True.
Could be worse. All right, gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for being on with me tonight. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you sub these guys up on the way out. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, please do so. That does help the channel. For TSR Sports, Clan the Spurs Fan, and SSPN, what's she gonna do when the San Antonio Spurs win the rest of their games and run wild on you? Go Spurs, go!
Deuces.
No chance they win the rest of their games, but that would out of prayer. All right, I'm sorry for keeping you on tonight.
No worries,
All good, man. It's all good.
Yeah, it was a great combo.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. If you ever want me to come on one of your channels at some point, obviously I'm willing to do that. I really want to, SSPN, I'm sincere, I really want to get you guys to 1,000 this year if I can, but it's really hard with the team struggling, and it's always hard when you say sub up these guys. Some people do.
I don't want to. Wait, I don't want to. There we go. I had to mute. Yeah, I had to mute. I didn't know if you were going to talk about anything personal. I was like, yeah, man. Sorry about your grandma. It's like, oh, wait.
You get 5,000 this year, and my music channel, I'm up to 285 subscribers. So woo! Hey, do you think sports content's hard? Music content? I'm such a little needle in a massive planet-sized haystack. I'm like, all right, I have one music video with about 50,000 views. I'm like, all right, just gotta get 2 or 3 more videos that catch just a little fire in, and to have that. Not for monetary purposes, but to get that channel monetized, to say have 2 channels that are monetized with completely different content, with almost no crossover subscriber wise, would just be like just really cool to do that.
Yeah. What's hold on, let me mute it over here. What's the channel? Unless you wanted like anybody in my chat to know about it.
I've done Spurs songs.
Okay. TSR music.
TSR music. Yeah, I was trying to. What I was originally doing, Clan, is I had my current. I'm a one-man band, guys. For those that don't know, I play everything. It's all metal. I originally had just my band that I'm currently doing up on there. I was like, wait a minute, I've been doing music since 1997. I could put all my previous bands up there, and the early stuff is atrocious. I put up a Slayer cover today on my first band. I literally labeled it the worst cover of all time, and then the playlist for that band's worst band ever, because man, it sucks. It's atrocious. I can actually look back on this and say, this is garbage. I didn't know how to play. I was a terrible musician. But back then I could also hit a banshee wail where I'm like 5 octaves up higher than where I am right now. So I was like, you know what? People might find this funny to see, where I was and where I am now 25 years later. And I love making music. I mean, if you said, Rich, your Spurs channel or sports channel, years old, and which was different in the early 80s, whereas I love sports, but music is just always sports, you're covering what somebody else is creating. With music, you're creating something of your own.
That's true. facts.
Absolutely.
Hi, Clans people, for live on Clans channel.
Yeah. I'm about to go ahead and do a giveaway, so I was about to go ahead and bounce. But
All right, man. I'm gonna bounce too. I thank you all again for being here, and
For sure, man.
let's get some wins this week.
All right, thanks.
Go
Yeah,
Spurs.
Hopefully.
Y'all are awesome.
man.
Night, guys.
Thanks, TSR.
Yeah.
All right, that was good, wasn't it? Was that a I hate them all? Yeah. I love them all. I love everyone. Okay. All right, guys, we're getting back to the original thing we were doing before we got distracted. All right. So, did anyone join as a member? I need to know this. So, if anyone in the chat and you joined as a member, I need to make sure I put you in because it's only fair, right? So let me look at my stuff. Members, what we got? Who we got? Okay. All right. Looks like we have the same amount of members here. Let me check Patreon. Yeah. I think we're safe here. Does anyone want to become a member before I do the giveaway? Just letting you know. Oh, and by the way, the giveaway for this month is, we did it like on the previous stream. Look at that, Timmy. Yeah, Tim Duncan. I'm assuming that this is like a bobblehead. I don't know, bro. This is different. Like, I've never seen anything like this before. Like Legends. I don't even know if I would take it out of the case, honestly, if I ended up getting something like this. Oh my goodness. Imagine getting this signed like right there. That would be pretty cool. Oh, it's a collectible. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, yeah, you guys let me know. Like, does anybody want to? Because I want to be fair. I'm going to give you an opportunity. You guys can let me know. But yeah, overall, I thought the discussion was pretty good. Yeah, I think it was a pretty good discussion. Honestly, I agree with most of what they were saying. The Pop discussion, man, I hate talking about Pop. I hate it. Cause like, I don't know, it might just be the homer in me, but like, he's done so much. You know, like those memories that I've had growing up with those championships, he's a big part of, like, he's the big reason why I've had those memories. Under any other coach, we might not have been able to get that. You know, like Tim Duncan's great, and I think Tim Duncan would have won a championship, but 5? I don't know. Like, Popovich took this franchise and put it in a direction like never seen before. And it's not like he's taking credit like, you know, Bill Belichick. You know, it's not like he's a jerk. He's full on like accepted that a big part of the reason why he's won is Tim Duncan. That's part of what makes him great. You know? I don't know. What's up, TSR? But yeah. I don't know. All right. Anybody else want to join? Just let me know. Just say no, okay, if you don't. Actually, let me do this as well. Yeah, it's hard to put the blame on him. He has a lot of back. It's just, I've been like this. Like, it's only one occasion in which I will say, okay, it's time for Pop to go, and that's if the team isn't responding. They're just not good. It's not that they're not responding. You know, that's the only reason I will say, all right, it's time for Pop to go. But they're responding. And also, I mean, I really do mean this. I'm okay with Pop staying, you know, as long as he want to stay. Like, if he want to stay 20 more years, I'm down for it. Like, I'm good for it, you know? I'm straight with that. All right. Let me just make sure no one else joined. No one's really saying that they want to join, which is fine. You can come Patreon anytime. And like I said, I do these giveaways like every month. So, yeah, you don't have to really worry about anything. Like, we literally do it every month. Let me see if I can shuffle these. Add image. I can add an image to this? Why? You guys want to add an image? Let's see. Oh, crap. Oh, that was stupid. Hold on. Let's delete that. That was dumb. All right. Let's shuffle. All right, we shuffled it. Let's shuffle it once more. Shuffle it a few more times. All right, we're nice and shuffled. Everybody ready? Just making sure. Coach until he's 100. He's 72 now, right? 92. Pop can coach until he's 92. You know, the original, what was it? The original thing that Pop was going to do, his original plan was to coach until Kawhi Leonard retired. Unfortunately, that didn't work, but I guarantee you Pop would have had at least 3 more championships under his belt. We would have had at least 1 by now. I think he would end up having 3 more, and he was going to do that. And that would have been, yeah, Pop leaving around 90, probably. Maybe 80 something. Probably 80 something. Not 90 something. Maybe it would be like 80 something. So, yeah. Yeah, something like mid 80s, maybe. I don't know. Kawhi's having a lot of injuries now. All right, guys, let's go ahead and do it. All right, let's see who won. You guys ready? Let me know. Just say we're ready. Anybody in the chat, just say I'm ready. I'm ready. What? I'm really Pop stay healthy, man. Selfishly, I want to see him for a long time, but when that time comes, it's going to be the saddest. Man, I don't even want to think about it. Ready? All right, Eli's ready. Anybody else ready? I just realized Gregory's comment, play your Pop hit 'em up song. That's funny. All right, let's do it. Let me turn this on. Let's get it. I'm nervous, man. I don't know why I'm nervous every time I do this. All right, let's do it. It is Philip wait. Oh, okay. Wait. Philip Allen. Didn't Philip Allen win already? Well, it's Philip Allen. Philip Allen won last time, I think. Philip Allen's the one. Yeah. Is Philip in the chat? Hold on. Let me make sure. I need to make sure because I know I will already have your info. All I gotta do is go to Patreon. Let's go to Patreon. Let's see, guys. Let's see. Let's see. Let's go to patrons. Let's go to relationship. Philip. Wait, maybe not. Send message. No, Philip Allen did win before. Well, Philip Allen won. Let's see, I'll yeah, he won the first giveaway actually. See, man, that's what happens. If we had more Patreon members, then stuff like this wouldn't happen. All right. But yeah, I appreciate everybody giving love, man. It really does help the channel. But, you know, I want to give back any way I can give back. And this is the way to give back. All right. Anything we should talk about before I go? Are we good? Everybody okay? I think everybody's okay. Saw the chat move, but Primo, of course. Actually, you guys can help me with a thumbnail. You want to help me with a thumbnail before I go? Let's see. What was the last? Because I made another Primo video. Let me make sure this is it. What? Yeah, this is it. Okay. All right, guys. So the next video is about Primo's It's about Primo's defense. So you just type in Joshua Primo. And yeah. So let's see. What image could we use? I've used this image before. I don't know if I want to use it again. Yeah, I've used this image before. Let's not use it again. Let's do this. Let's see, Primo. It's about his defense. I mean, this is a good one. Oh wait, this is a good one too. We've all seen this one. But it cuts off at the top. And I don't want to do one that cuts off at the top. Let's see. I wish we had one where his stance is as a Spur. I think this one. Whoa. I like this one. I like this one. I heard that Josh Primo will grow a little bit more. We're going to save this one. I heard he is going to grow. All right, guys. And we're going to do a fence. I want to put a fence in the background. Fence. Did I spell fence right? Oh, my goodness, dude. What's wrong with me? Let's see. It don't have to be transparent, but it kind of helps. No, let's not do that. Let's do jail cell. Want to do a jail cell? Oh yeah. All right. I like this one, but it might be a bit much. Yeah, this might be a bit much. It needs to be a little simpler. Maybe like that one's okay. Let's see. What do you guys think? That one's gonna look ugly. All these look bad. This one? Nah, that's ugly. Shoot. I don't know. This one? That's ugly. Oh, wait. This one might work. This one actually might work. I'm gonna go with this one. It's gonna save. Here we go. All right, PNG. All right, then we're gonna go to remove, of course. All right, good. Then we're gonna go with this one. Haha, beautiful. All right, we're gonna save both of these, and now let's go to pick maker. Log me in. There we go. Good. 6'6", 6'7". Yeah, he's supposed to get bigger. All right, let's delete this. All right. Let's see here. Let's go and add this. This is good. It works. Good. All right. All right, that's good. You like that? Title: Primo is already the best defender in the NBA, and Spurs Reddit gonna cuss you out. Dude, Spurs Reddit hates me. I don't know. I don't get it. They don't like to have fun. That's their problem. Fun is like a no-go for them. use Canva. No, I'm not on Canva. I'm on a PicMaker. All right. I think that looks pretty decent. And then I'm gonna see if we can, I don't know, is that ugly? That's pretty ugly. I don't know. It might turn out okay. Let's see what we can do. Let's do backwards. Should it be all the way in the back? Or should it be in the front? Hold on. Let's make sure this is all the way in the back. I don't know why that's not. All right, and then let's arrange backwards. I don't think that looks bad. I actually think that looks pretty cool. Hold on. Let's bring up the contrast. Yeah, I actually like that. And then let's do probably black. Yeah. Just one. Let's just do one layer of that. Yeah, I like that. Block. Wait, I messed that up. There we go. It's ambitious thumbnail, isn't it? Let's do defense. Wait, am I spelling deep? I'm spelling defense right? Figured I was. I don't know. All right. Let's do lockdown. Defense. Well, I feel like it's. I don't know. Is that good? That ain't bad. It's like Primo doing some stuff to an inmate inside it. Yeah. That's okay. We'll keep it anyway. Who cares? All right, let's do that. We'll keep it anyway. All right. All right, good. And let me God, that's loud. All right, let's go to upload video. Let's go to this one. Add some help text. Like a what do you mean? Like like a bubble, like a voice bubble. I don't think it's worth it. I'm not doing it. I don't think that's worth it. Yeah, bro. You literally won again. Ugh, you literally won again. You're taking all the prizes from everybody, man. Well, at least I don't have to ask for your address. Let's see. And I mixed up everything too. Like, that ain't right. Hey, man. Rules are rules, all right? Rules are rules. Everyone had a fair shot at it. Let's see. Primo. All right, let's schedule it. It's tomorrow the 24th. Schedule it for like I think 12 tomorrow's good. Ah, man, you shouldn't feel bad. It is what it is. One fair and square. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. I appreciate all the love. I need to actually record quite a few videos because I'm gonna be gone from Wednesday to Sunday. So that's what. Wait. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's literally like 10 videos. Yeah. Take me out of the next one. If that's what you want, I will do that. I will take you out of the next one. No one else has to do that though. I'll do it. Next time I'll take you out of the next one, okay? All right. All right, guys. I appreciate everything. Shout out to a new YouTube member, Nick. You'll be entered into next month's giveaway as well, just like this one. So anybody else want to support the channel, link in the description for that. Become a Patreon member, YouTube member, all that good stuff. Only $2. So I appreciate the love. I'll get with you guys later, man. Yeah, later, Eli, and deuces.